Kindly be seated. We will now have the felicitation of guests, and for this, I would the utmost, I would like to request Professor Pravakar Rat, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Mizoram University, to kindly felicitate His Excellency Dr. Hari Babu Kambampati, Honorable Governor of Mizoram, with a bouquet, shawl, and memento. I would now like to request His Excellency Dr. Hari Babu Kambampati, Honorable Governor of Mizoram, to kindly felicitate Professor Pravakar Rat, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Mizoram University. I would... Thank you, sir. I would now like to request I would now like to request Professor Lalmasai Chongo, Dean, Faculty of Education, to kindly felicitate Professor Lalundanga, Registrar, Mizoram University. I would now like to request Thank you, ma'am. I would now like to request Professor Lalundanga, Registrar, Mizoram University, to kindly felicitate Professor Ganta Rames, Visiting Professor and CTE member, Manu. I would now like to request Professor Lalmasai Chongo, Dean, Faculty of Education, Mizoram University, to kindly felicitate Professor Loknath Mishra, Head, Department of Education, Mizoram University. Thank you, sir. I would now like to invite Professor Dr. Muthu Vemula, convener of the conference, to kindly felicitate Professor Loknath Mishra, Head of Department, Mizoram University. Thank you, sir. Last but not least, I would now like to invite Professor Loknath Mishra, Head Department of Education, to kindly felicitate Dr. Muthu Vemula, convener of the conference, with a bouquet, salt, and memento. Thank you. To welcome is to sow honor. To welcome is to establish integrity. I would now like to invite Professor Loknath Mishra, Head, Department of Education, Mizoram University, to kindly give the welcome address. Sir, if you...
Your Excellency, the Governor of Mizoram, Dr. Haribabu Kammampati ji, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Mizoram University, Professor Prabhakar Rath ji, esteemed Registrar, Mizoram University, Professor Lalun Danga ji, respected keynote speaker, Professor Ghanta Ramesh ji, respected Dean, School of Education, Professor Lalmasai Chuango ji, Dr. Muthu ji, Deans and Heads of the Departments, delegates, colleagues, student friends, press and media persons. I consider it a great pleasure to extend a warm welcome on this August gathering on the occasion of the National Seminar on NEP 2020, Philosophy, Indian Philosophical Thought and Contribution of Thinkers to the Field of Education. I welcome His Excellency, the Governor of Mizoram, for accepting our invitation as Chief Guest of this function. I, on behalf of our department and on my own behalf, warmly welcome you, sir. I welcome our Honorable Vice Chancellor, who is the partner of this conference. I also welcome our esteemed Registrar, who is the partner of the seminar. Similarly, I welcome our keynote speaker and guest of honor of the conference. I also welcome all the distinguished guests, students, delegates, press and media persons to this seminar organized by the Department of Education, Mizoram University. Sir, I would like to highlight our department is one of the oldest and largest department in the university, having 4 programs, B.Ed, M.Ed, MA Education, and PhD on Education, with more than 400 students and 26 faculty members. The department is also having FDC for in-service teachers training program. Department is planning to run another program in next year, that is postgraduate diploma in early elementary education. And we are also planning to run ITEP program recently launched by the NCT for teacher education program. Our staffs are more dedicated to the profession. Recently, the department got 3 ICSSR funded project, 1 NCRT funded project, and 1 NEC funded project amounting 50 lakhs. Our faculties are publishing papers in many reputed journals of national and international. So lastly, I welcome once again to this conference for the department as well as to this conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Loknath Mishra, Head Department of Education, Mizoram University, for the welcome address. We will now have the introduction to the theme of conference from Dr. Muthu Vemula, Conference Convener, Department of Education, Mizoram University. I now invite Dr. Muthu to take his time. Sir.
Dean, ma'am. Yeah, sorry, ma'am. Now I'm inviting respected Dean, ma'am. Please introduce about our School of Education, ma'am.
Honorable Governor of Mizoram, Dr. Haribabu Kammampati, respected Vice Chancellor of Mizoram University, Professor Pravakar Rat, respected Registrar of Mizoram University, Professor Lalnundanga, respected keynote speaker, Professor Ramesh Ganta, Head, Department of Education, Professor Lokanath Mishra, and Dr. Muthu Vemula, convener, organizing secretary of this conference, Dr. Arti Mishra, co-organizing secretary, faculty members from School of Education and other departments and schools, participants and their students. I welcome all of you to School of Education Mizoram University and to its program being organized today. This conference on NEP 2020 philosophy is the first national level program organized by the school as it is still very young. So School of Education Mizoram University is the youngest school of study which became functional with the appointment of the Dean on 12 August 2022. Now, its history of establishment started way back in 12 five-year plan. In response to the UGC's invitation for supplementary proposal and the 12th plan for establishment of Department of Education for strengthening of teacher education, Mizoram University submitted a proposal for starting of B.Ed and M.Ed programs in the existing Department of Education, which was established way back in 1979 in the erstwhile Mizoram campus of Nehu. In March 2013, the UGC sanctioned grants in aid amounting rupees 10 crores to Mizoram University for establishment of School of Education and the General Development Grant during 12 five-year plan for the year 2012 to 2013. The UGC in August 2013 approved B.Ed and M.Ed courses and 30 faculty positions for the courses. Subsequently, more faculty positions were sanctioned by the UGC. Recognition of the said courses was obtained from NCTE in 2016. B.Ed program was started in the newly constructed building in 2016 and M.Ed program in 2018. In line with the provision of School of Education under the scheme of Pandit Madan Mohan Malaviya National Mission on Teachers and Teaching, upgradation of the existing Department of Education to School of Education was approved in principle by the 32nd meeting of Academic Council in 2017. The process, however, took time due to the requirement of amendment of MZU statutes, which needed the approval of the then MHRD, now MOE, with the approval of the Ministry of Education. The previous School of Education and Humanities has been bifurcated into School of Education and School of Humanities and Languages. Currently, there are 4 academic programs: MA Education, B.Ed, M.Ed, and PhD program in education, and also Faculty Development Center under School of Education, with 28 faculty members, 8 non-teaching staff, and around 400 students. Now, it is my hope and wish that this conference would bring about more awareness about the philosophy of NEP 2020 among the participants and would have positive impact on our education system. I thank Dr. Muthu Vemula and Dr. Arti Mishra for their initiatives in the organization of this program. Lastly, I thank all the dignitaries in the dais and the audience for your presence and the time given for the success of this program. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Lalmasai Chongo, Dean, Faculty of Education, Mizoram University, for the introduction to the department. I would now like to invite Dr. Muthu Vemula for the introduction to the theme of conference. Sir, if you would take your place.
Esteemed Honorable Governor of Mizoram, Dr. Haribabu Kamampati Garu, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Pravakar Rath, Mizoram University, respected Registrar, Sir, Mizoram University, respected Dean, School of Education, Professor Lalma Sai, ma'am, beloved Head Department of Education, Professor Loknath Misra, sir, invitees, resource persons, head and deans of Mizoram University, aspirants, my dear student friends, scholars, dear learned colleagues, senior faculty members, print and electronic media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all. Welcomes to 3 days national seminar, which is sponsored by ICSSR under Azadi Ka Amrit Sir. At the outset, let me introduce about the theme of the 3 days national seminar, that is NEP 2020 philosophy, Indian philosophers, contributions of thinkers to the field of education. NEP 2020 is a philosophy to realize the full human potential of Indians' demography, drive a culture of innovation and entrepreneurship as envisaged by the Honorable Prime Minister of Sri Narendra Modi ji and his cabinet to create Iswa Manavas committed to global welfare in line with the ethos of Vasudhaika Kutumbam. It is aimed at decolonization of education and achieving aspirations, creating pride in our languages, culture, and knowledge. We must bring in a transformative education system rooted in Indian values, thoughts, and sense of synthesis. The NEP 2020 is comprehensive and concise policy document that meets present educational needs in changing the global scenario, while attempting to protect and foster Indian socio-economic and cultural values. The aim of education in ancient India was not just the acquisition of knowledge as preparation for life in this world or life beyond schooling, but for the complete realization and liberalization of the self, noted the policy. The policy therefore wants to education to move towards less content and more of learning about how to think creatively and solve problems, how to be creative and multidisciplinary, and how to innovative, adaptive, and absorb new material in novel and changing fields. Therefore, 3-day national seminar aims to establish dialogue between Indian philosophical traditions and modern concepts of philosophy of education of NEP 2020. Such an engagement promises to enrich philosophy of education through the infusion of fresh philosophical perspective. The dialogue could also pertain to Indian thinkers, philosophers, and their take on education. Further, the elements of philosophy of education could be explored in the traditions of Indian philosophy. In many ways, the National Education Policy 2020 echoes the educational thought of Jiddu Krishnamurti, Aurobindo Ghosh, Swami Vivekananda, Mahatma Gandhi, Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, and other great philosophers and thinkers. Before I conclude, I wish to spell objectives of national seminar once again: to understand the ideology and philosophy of NEP 2020, evaluation of national education policies, to explore the Indian philosophical thoughts and contribution of thinkers to the field of education, philosophy and value in education, to understand the policy issues, measurement and assessment, accountability and quality in education. There were 172 aspirants registered for the national seminar from different parts of the country, including our department, out of which we invited 6 aspirants to participate. I wish all good luck to all the participants. I forget, I am very sorry. Also, it is the time to say my gratitude to my Guru, Professor Ramesh Ganta sir. I'm sorry, sir, I forget. Okay. Really, yesterday I encountered with my guru, Professor Ramesh Ganta, sir. The first question he raised, you are a psychology student. How could you pick up this philosophy topic? I told, sir, you only the inspiration behind pick up this philosophy background. Why? Because our India is celebrating the contributions of the great people. So there is no scope to celebration of the psychology. So I couldn't find anyone psychology. So that's why I go with philosophy, sir. And immediately I thought, that is the attitude of the philosophers. They never satisfy with their existing knowledge. They always want to know new. So that is the reason our sir used to tell every time. In my first encounter in 2004 in my classroom met Kakatiya University, sir started class with why education. So philosopher always putting their WHO words in front of everything. I concluded and I understood myself the philosophers the way. I think philosophy never question the answer. It is always questioning the answer. So he is the right person to deliberate and give some specific reason behind NEP 2020. That is the reason I request him. Sir accepted. Though at the age of 70 it is very difficult, but sir, I am very much thankful to you, sir. With this word I am concluding. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Muthu Vemula, for the introduction to the theme of conference. We will now have the keynote address, and for this, I would now like to invite Professor Ganta Ramesh, Visiting Professor, Manu, NCTE member, SRC, to kindly take his time.
Good morning. His Excellency, the Governor of Mizoram, Dr. Haribabu Khammampati Garu, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Rath, Registrar Lan Nungar. If I am slightly wrong in pronunciation, kindly excuse me. Dean Madam Chango, my friend and head Department of Education, Professor Loknath Mishra, the organizing secretary of this 3-day seminar, my student Dr. Mutaya, distinguished professors, invitees, student friends, media. Again, very good morning to all of you. It's a pleasant moment to visit Mizoram. Again, this is my third visit. Really, I enjoy the academic environment that prevails on this campus. It reminds me, Vishwabharati, when I visited some 30 years back as a student of philosophy who studied Rabindranath Tagore's philosophy in detail. But unfortunately, I am told that the university lost its purpose for which it was established by the Gurudev. Now it is like any other central university, but I could see something what Rabindranath Tagore expected on this campus. Yeah, as Muthu made a mention, I congratulate the dean, head, and the faculty, including Muthu, who could choose a topic that is philosophy and the national policy, and also remembering the great thinkers of this nation who has contributed abundantly to the education, particularly in the age of 21st century, where we have forgotten the contributions made by our great thinkers, particularly to the education system. And that is really make me to place on record my sense of appreciation to the Faculty of Education, Mizoram University. Coming to NEP 2020, after almost 35 years, the nation could come out with a policy document, NEP 2020. Most of you are well aware that this is a unique policy because earlier too we have some policy documents or in the name of committee or commission reports. But this is the uniqueness with this policy is the policy emerged from the participation of the stakeholders. It's not from top to the bottom, but from bottom to the top. And another important thing by this time you might have observed, because since last 2 years, a lot of discussion is taking place on this policy. First time, to the best of my knowledge, the Prime Minister, none other than the Prime Minister, and also the President of India, who spoke on this policy, not at one time, number of times. That is a reflection of the politicians and the governments, their concern and interest with regard to the policy that we all as academicians should appreciate. The policy is almost 2-year-old. Every day, on one platform or the other, in one academic institution or the other, by one NGO or some other academic groups, are discussing about how to implement. And already people are divided. There are some section of academicians, they have some pessimistic attitude. Yeah, policy is perfectly all right, but it is humanly impossible to get it implemented as the policy envisage. Yeah, it is not that easy unless everyone actively involved and realize the importance of the policy for the future of the nation and its development. Implementation is not that easy. Therefore, first time we have the political patronage. The second time, the policy, no doubt, is a document which can take this nation forward. And the rest with the academicians, stakeholders, including the student community. This is one thing that we all should recognize. Coming to the policy, yes, not many things are new, not new to us. For example, particularly in the context of higher education in the years to come, the policy wants that the university should be multidisciplinary universities. It's a new thing because from 80s onwards, most of the new universities which were established in this country are faculty-wise universities. We have agriculture university, horticulture university, medical university, engineering university, whatnot, for every even language universities. But Madan Mohan Malaviya conceived a university where I had the privilege to work for a couple of years, from primary school to the postdoctoral work in all faculties except one, that is animal husbandry, all are available under one roof. That is what exactly the new education policy contemplate, to develop the existing institutions of higher learning into multidisciplinary universities. Like that you take, now we are talking about so many things in this context, like fostering the unique capabilities of each student. That is what we call it as individualized learning. Lot of research is carried out across the world that how to improve the teaching. The only strategy that is adopted uniformly across the globe, that teaching one-to-one is the best method of teaching that is available, which may not be possible in all contexts, but still this policy identified each and every student as a unique participant in the process. Therefore, education should be in accordance with the individual capacities. Like that, we have to ensure the flexibility. We have to see that there should not be any hard separation. Unfortunately, in the name of super specialization, we are drawing a line between the disciplines, which now realized is not good, and we have to see that the multidisciplinary approach and conceptual clarity and so many things that they have highlighted in this policy document, realizing the importance of ethical, moral values, and ultimately at the end of the process of education, the policy contemplated that each and every individual should emerge as a product of the system of education with a complete, he should emerge oneself as a complete being, which is again a philosophy. But when you look at the type of discussion that are taking place in this country about the policy 2020, no one touched the philosophy, which is the basis for the document or the education system as a whole. No one can have a system of education without philosophy. Philosophy is not the subject matter of some pundits. Philosophy matter is not an outdated knowledge that is essential for every human being existing in this universe. I am not saying that as a student of philosophy or a philosophy of education person, because philosophy and education are inseparable. The first lesson we teach to our B.Ed students, education and philosophy are two sides of the same coin, as Ross said. It is not Ross, even our ancient thinkers long back clearly observed that education is only the means, the philosophy determines the ends. The philosophers are so great, as Muthu made a mention, that they are not satisfied, because when, as a classroom teacher, we come across a number of aspects while delivering the lecture. Often we use knowledge. What is knowledge? We want to make our students disciplined. What is discipline? We want to give freedom. What is freedom? We want to make ultimately as a teacher that all my students should be good. What is good? What do you mean by good? But because they are all difficult things, abstract things, we can't skip them and make a classroom really a purposeful one. Just I will limit myself to say good. What is good? G-O-O-D. For anybody, everybody wants to be good. I want my nation should be good, my students should be good, my family should be good, my children. If you ask me simply, what is good, Professor Ganta? What is good? You will be surprised. There is one philosopher who tried to make an attempt to define what is good. That is the textbook Principia Ethica by G.E. Moore, a British ethical philosopher, made an attempt to define what is good. Just I am citing one example. At the end of 320 pages, he concluded by saying that good is good, which is unanalyzable and indefinable. So like that, we come across a number of issues. It is knowledge. For example, can anybody define what is knowledge? If you ask 50 people, they give 50 different explanations to the concept of knowledge. But still we have to move in the process of education to make our students knowledgeable and for creation of knowledge society. So this is what exactly even new education policy contemplated, that students should develop that thinking, critical thinking, sense of observation and appreciation. It is not just mere exposing themselves to the information that is flooded through different forms in the society. So ultimately, the basic question before any education is, what is the purpose of life? Is there any one country across the globe who can say that education is not mandatory or compulsory? There may be certain limitations that education is not for this section, this gender, that gender. Nowadays, in the 21st century, even that barrier is wiped off. No country can say that this is to be given only to X gender or Y gender. When the entire world realized that education is mandatory for everyone, not just getting job, after all. Job is not what it is expected as a purpose of life. Life is something very unique. We are all existing as human beings with a purpose. Can anybody say that some creation in this universe exists either with life or without life is without a purpose? We can't. Every creation in this great universe is having a purpose. So like that, we too have some purpose. But who has to determine? When we took birth, nothing is written. Man, you are born with this purpose. You go ahead and move in that direction. You see, imagine that we are moving in our life without knowing, having a knowledge of having that something is to be realized, but without knowing what is that something to be realized, we are moving. That's where the philosophy comes into the picture. It is the philosophers since last thousands and thousands of years, they are struggling hard to say about the purpose. It is not just simply like a Pandit saying that this is the purpose, you go ahead. No. It is not like saying with some authority. The philosophers analyze each and everything with a logic and establish a case that this is the purpose, and simply they never stopped there, and that's how the education came into the picture, because once it is considered to be the purpose, it is the responsibility of the philosopher to suggest the means how can that end can be realized. That's where the education system emerged. The government or the nation came out with a policy, with a purpose, but that purpose is not just articulation of some experts. It has a long history, it has a long debate, it has a philosophy behind it, which is not explicitly stated in the policy document. So therefore, the philosophy and education are mandatory. It's not just for job, it's not for economic development, it's not for taking the technology forward. But unless one individual emerge oneself as a complete being and realize what he or she intend to realize by their own, anything that we put from outside is not going to make the individual a complete being. It's not out of context. I born in a middle class agriculture family. Even today, though I am a professor, I enjoyed economic and other advantages, but still I love to be a farmer. I love to be an agriculturist. That speaks volumes about my inherent capacities. I may be a professor, but still the joy, the fulfillment that what I get. This can be easily explained when we look at the individual, not physiologically, but philosophically, we can say that one is having an outer personality. What you can see me as a professor, Ramesh, is only the outer personality, outer self. Self is one, but self can be interpreted and explained in two ways. One is outer self, what you can see. There is something inside, that is inner self. The outer self always strives for existence, better facilities, better comforts. But the inner self always strives for something that is fulfillment. So any education with a sound philosophy should strive to meet the existential needs to some extent. Afterwards, it has to take forward meeting the inner self. That is why when you look at Western education systems which miserably failed, they could satisfy the needs and requirements of the outer self. They totally ignored the inner self. That is why there is a conflict within the personality. within the individual, that will extend to the society as a whole. To overcome that, you have to look at our great thinkers of this nation. Whether it is Aurobindo, whether it is Gandhi, whether it is Madan Mohan Malaviya ji, or Tagore, Vivekanand, all these people suggested a system of education which will enable the individual to satisfy both the needs of inner and outer self. That's the reason most of the Western societies are looking at our Indian philosophy and Indian thinkers. But unfortunately, we are not giving that much importance to our own great souls. The reason being, we are identifying the religion with philosophy. Philosophy is nothing to do with religion. Philosophy is a subject with a scientific nature. Science is something, no subject without scientific nature can't exist and cannot be considered as a disciplinary knowledge. So philosophy is also science. Rather, philosophy is the mother of sciences. Philosophy is not religion. More particularly, we are struggling in Indian context that Hinduism and Indian philosophy are treated as one. That is not correct. Indian philosophy is totally different from Hinduism. Hinduism is a religion. Religion rely upon the authority. Philosophy never rely upon any authority, because Plato said, some great thinker has said that I will accept it, or Plato said that I will accept it. No. Any philosopher wants to make an observation or a statement which is philosophical in nature will be subjected to verification. The principle of verification is logic. In religion, there is no principle of verification. We have to accept because it is stated by some authority, whether he is a priest or somebody. So, science, for example, the so-called science which we are talking about, the principle of verification is experimentation. Unless I verify through an experiment and establish, then only I will accept as as science. So, therefore, even something is verifiable with logic or through experimentation or science, but this is, philosophy is also science. So, one should be very clear that philosophy and religion are not the same. Because even in this country, if you all remember well, some time back, turn of the century, there was a big debate. Because religion, they want to make it as the basis of education. It's not religion, it's philosophy. Talking about our Vedas, talking about our great culture, values, the life. You see, for example, our Indian philosophy has stated the life into 4 parts like brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyasa. Sannyasa is not a spiritual one. Meditation, what Aurobindo also emphasized. That meditation is not to know about the God, to know yourself. That is, know thyself. So this is how, because a very sensitive things, but one should be, as a student of education, be clear, because tomorrow we are going to deal the students coming with different faiths. That is different. But we are educating the children, taking a philosophy as the basis, and we want to provide a future for them to emerge themselves as complete beings. So that is why this policy should not be attributed in terms of any religion. There is no flavor of religion. The only flavor that the policy wants to promote that Indian culture, Indian values. It is not Hindu values again. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. The great values. Even Westerners are accepting it. The 4 stages of life, we have plenty of literature that is available. How can we say that this is something to do with one religion? So, the need of the hour is, when we are looking at the new education policy, we should look at it with an objective eye, without any suspicion, and then only we can take forward this policy and in the years to come, definitely, we will see the outcome of the policy. Another important thing, this policy is not just a document which is given to the nation. At each and every level, time frame is included. You have to carry out this thing by 2025, by 2030, by 2040. It's not such an easy task. It's a challenge for the government. That's the reason you might have observed in the recent budget, the finance minister allocated 1.12 lakh crores to education, which is more than almost 8% to the last year's budget that is allocated to education, because it's a challenge for the government or whoever may be in power. They have to really, if they want to implement this policy. Another thing we all should appreciate, that this is the policy which is accepted not with much controversy. Otherwise in this nation, because we are very democratic, and often I say that who is not competent to speak on education? Everybody will talk about education. That's not like medicine, that's not like other professions, law profession. Only few select the people who are there in the profession alone can argue or speak. But I can't make a statement that our law profession is good or bad or something. But education is such a flexible profession that everybody is in one way or the other in the process, therefore they speak. That's why this is the policy which is rather a subject matter for cross-section of the society. Lot of discussion that took place, but ultimately, maybe some exceptions are there, everybody accepted, but only thing is the responsibility rests on the shoulders of the senior academicians and the young buds who are going to enter into the teaching profession in the years to come. And ultimately, just time is limited, but we will discuss subsequently. Just I want to make certain things, because quickly, even if you go through the policy documents of UNESCO, you take the basis on which the policy was developed, reflect our Indian heritage, our Indian values. Just I will give one example. In 1996, DLR's Commission report on education, the UNESCO, they identified 4 pillars. It's not for Indian education, for across the world. Everybody has to take. UNESCO means it's a international agency. Everybody is looking at UNESCO with regard to the education and culture. So that document identified 4 pillars for their education. Any country should ensure that their education system stand on the 4 pillars. That is learning to know, learning to do, learning to be, and learning to live together. These are the 4 pillars on which every country should ensure their education system should rely upon or stand. And that we can easily interpret when they said ki learning to know, learning to do, learning to know is Jnana Yoga. Learning to do is Karma Yoga. Learning to be is Purushottama. Learning to live together is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. They are not new to us. They may be new to the most of the Western and other countries, but when you look at the report as a student of philosophy, after all, our people, sages long back, they have stated that our education should rely upon, or the society should move only with these things. So like that, friends, our policy as a whole, as a hidden agenda, reflect our Indian thought. May not be directly focusing, stating that we opted Gandhian philosophy, or we opted Arbindo's philosophy, opted somebody else's philosophy as the basis of the system. But when you carefully go through it, a philosophical eye, you come across that the ideas of all these great people were taken up. For example, Aurobindo, again, he too wants to see that end of education, one should be a person with integral personality. Just I am citing one great thinker. Because the life divine, what he authored, is even now in the academic circles equated with that of the Vedas. It's a treasure house of knowledge, in which he made a mention about the education also. Aurobindo, at the end of education, is not to manufacture or prepare great scientists or great astronauts or great, okay, that may be there. But at each and every individual should come out with an integral personality. Then he explained what that constitutes an integral personality, how it is possible. So he identified 5 dimensions. That is physical, vital, mental, psychical, and spiritual. Any education system should try to include these dimensions, and if any individual pass through that education, they emerge themselves as a person with integral personality. The physical, we know the importance of physical, sound mind in a sound body. Vital, it's a very important thing even for the present day educational administrators at higher education. Vital is an energy which is present in Tanmantras and Jnanendriyas. The education should aim at enabling the individual to make use that vital energy for constructive purpose, for not destructive purpose. Very simple example. There is a vital energy which is present in Tanmantras and Jnanendriyas of each and every individual. The whole purpose of education, he explained in one line, is only to enable the individual to make use that vital energy for constructive purpose, for not destructive purpose. With this simple statement, you see why there is a turmoil in our university campuses across the country. Why? Because we fail to enable our students to use their energies. They attend 2 classes, 3 classes, rest of the time they are free. At least thanks to the social media and this cell phone technology, most of our students are fully engaged with this. That is the reason nowadays slowly the student disturbances have come down in the university, because they are engaged with their own mobile phone. Otherwise, there is no time. They used to discuss, and that vital energy is to be exploited by the politicians for their ends. That is why there is to be a lot of student activism and disturbances on the campus. But Aurobindo, long back, did ever we take that particular statement of Sri Aurobindo while formulating the curriculum, while formulating the academic calendar, while formulating everything? We prepare, we develop curriculum, we teach in 180 days. At the end of the 180 days, we conduct the examination. That is the relation or the rapport that is existing between the teacher and the taught. We are not taking care. So that is why there are number of such kind of postulates suggested by the great thinkers of this nation. Most of the time, we are not able to go with the ideas by way of analyzing critically. Sometimes we are afraid if I say Aurobindo, he is talking of some religious leader. He has nothing to do with religion. He is again a great philosopher. Gandhi is nothing to do with any religion. Madan Mohan Malviya is nothing to do. Maybe that's a personal interest. If there is 5%, you just get out of it. What he said about 95%. So that is why, because Honorable His Excellency Governor is here, we the professors, if time permits, we can speak hours together on this. That we will, I'm here for tomorrow also, we can interact. So it is not with the education, everybody concerned with education, including interested social groups, politicians, everybody should understand the tenets of the philosophy which reflect in the policy 2020, and also the contributions made by the great thinkers to education. Ultimately, our interest is to draw the image of the integral personality which we want to develop on the canvas of this great country, then only we will be happy to say that our education really serve the purpose. Otherwise, everybody talk ill of education. That should be put to an end. That is only possible if you take this policy. And there the role of the teacher is very, very important. Again, to observe Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, in a very small sentence, he captured the role and purpose of a teacher in this country. Acha Siksha, Acche Sikshak. In a very small line, offline. Acha Siksha, we talk volumes about how to improve the quality, the importance of quality in education, so on and so forth. But the teacher is not identified. This policy again considered the role of a teacher as a pivotal person. Unless they are empowered, unless they are made to know their role in the process of education, I don't think that policy can be successfully implemented and the intended outcomes of the policy is possible. So, teacher education, because this is the family of teacher education, the responsibility rests more on our shoulders than others working in the system of education. All these details we will discuss. I thank the university, the Vice Chancellor, the Registrar, and also the faculty dean, head, and other members who have given me the opportunity to speak some of my observations, because there is a lot of things are there which we can discuss afterwards. I am proud that this opportunity is created by this university to say a few of my observations in the presence of His Excellency, the Governor of Mizoram, with whom we are proud of it as a Telugu-speaking person. Sir, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to say few observations before the distinguished colleagues of this university and the participants of this seminar. Thank you very much. Wish you all the best. God bless you.
Thank you, Professor Ganta Ramesh, sir, for your very enlightening speech. It is truly an honor to have you here. Moving ahead, I would now like to take this opportunity to invite our distinguished patron, Professor Lalnundanga, Registrar, Mizoram University, to share with us a few words. Sir, if you would kindly take your place.
Honorable Governor and the Chief Rector of Mizoram University, Dr. Hari Babu Kambampati, and Honorable Vice Chancellor of Mizoram University, Professor Prabhakar Rath, and esteemed keynote speaker and member of NCTE, Professor Ganta Ramesh, and the Deans of School of Education, the head of the department, and the organizers, and my colleague here in the university, students, friends. First, I welcome each and every one of you once again on behalf of Mizoram University in this very campus of Mizoram University and this national seminar as well. And I must congratulate the School of Education for organizing this seminar, 3 days national seminar. So when we talk about the NEP 2020, right from the launching of this policy, Mizoram University starts working on this policy, and it has been adopted in the Academic Council as well as in the Executive Council. So we start working in line with NEP 2020. Especially when we talk about the guidelines that has been coming out first, which is multiple entry and exit. So we start working framing the curriculum based on this NEP 2020. and we are already implemented in the PG section, so we will be implementing in the coming academic session for UG as well. So when we talk about the academic bank of credit, so when the portal has been opened, according to this NEP 2020, on the very first day, the Mizoram University registered under this ABC as well, which is Academic Bank of Credit. Under this Academic Bank of Credit, we have registered through NAD more than 1 lakh of students, and particularly in this ABC, we have been registered more than 7,000 as of now. You may say that this may be less, but the problem that are lying with this is that recently they insist the student other number to be attached with. So we are working in line with that also. And then another component of NEP, like internationalization. Before NEP document has come, internationalization, like the International Affairs, Office of the International Affairs, is in place here in Mizoram University. And other components like the student-centric that has coming out when we talk about the philosophy of this NEP 2020. It has been attended. So what I would like to mention, there is a say, or there was a say like, the NEP 2020 is a great philosophy, rather than this is a mere policy document. As the keynote speaker has already pointed out some of the important points. So looking into and comparing with, like the different universities here in the country, regarding NEP 20, so every day, so there has been a kind of, at least a discussion to different university or institution. So at the ministry level and the UGC level as well, so there is a regular monitoring and updating of this implementation of NEP 2020. So the Mizoram University is very fortunate that so we were given a task to coordinate the eastern zone of the country, giving awareness, and not only that, for the implementation of NEP 2020 as well. So with that, and I believe, and I wish that during these 3 days, we may be able to identify the philosophy behind this NEP 20, and we may be convinced with that philosophy. So in the field of education, especially for betterment and quality enhancement of higher education, not only higher education, the education system in the country. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Lal Nundanga, Registrar, Mizoram University, for your insightful words. I would now like to take this moment to invite the Chief Patron of today's inaugural function, Professor Pravakar Rat, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Mizoram University, to kindly deliver a speech. Sir, if you would take your place.
Most respected and honorable Governor of Mizoram, Dr. Haribabu Garu, Professor Ramesh from Maulana Azad Urdu National University from Hyderabad, Registrar, Mizoram University, Dean of School of Education, Head Department of Education, Dr. Barmula, who is the organizing secretary, heads, deans, invited delegates, students and scholars. Well, NEP is a very emerging issue that is being discussed all over India. More importantly, the educational sector. School education, as we know, is the foundation. Then we move to higher education. Professor Ramesh very elaborately explained, who else can explain better than a professor of education, knowledge, wisdom, philosophy behind this educational system. There is no doubt that the national education policy has brought a number of changes that a student at school level or college level or university level can magnify himself, can broaden his knowledge in a multi-dimensional approach, we say interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary, so that he or she is going to be an independent learner and independent job seeker, getting employment in the job market, which is based on Indian knowledge system. Indigenous knowledge, we are proud of your own knowledge, indigenous knowledge, Indian knowledge system. That is why the philosophy behind this national education policy, that how can we make our educational system in the country so unique, which is the major driving force behind this educational system is the indigenous knowledge system, giving high value and importance to traditional culture, traditional value, and our own local importance. That is why the government, in G20 summit, G20 meet, why there is G20 meet in India, as good as it is in other 20 countries. That is why education is one area that India want to project, that there are certain uniqueness, research, innovation, which are unique in nature in India, can be projected and demonstrated to developed countries and developing countries, 20 countries. That's why it was a great boon for Mizoram University students, teachers, and scholars. They could be able to know how India is growing, where do we stand, and how our products and services, uniqueness, innovation, research can be projected at a global level. That is why when you say indigenous knowledge, Indian knowledge system, many of the seminars and conferences are talking about Indian knowledge system. The main idea of this, giving importance to this area, is to give high importance, as I said, to our own indigenous knowledge system, traditional value, and our own culture. Of course, there is a great concern that if the students of any level, school level or higher education level, is going to be more exposed to the Indian knowledge system, how can he is going to get a job at the global level? That means how can we make a balance between the national education system and the global education system? The global education system is more and more interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary in nature. We have made that foundation, that provision in our policy, but when you look at the global developments, a teacher, maybe an English teacher, he or she has some interest in technology, maybe digitization. After getting some specialization, interest in digitization, getting an appointed in an executive in MNC and corporate sector. But his main basic subject is English literature. That is what we say interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary. One of the central university in India, no, that is a brand new university. They wanted to start a university with many, many departments. They wanted some names, recommendation of some names to develop curriculum and syllabus. And the name of the subject is Ancient Indian Mathematics. We know mathematics and application of computer application in mathematics, IT application in mathematics, but they want to start a department in 2023, year 2023, which is 21st century, Ancient Indian Mathematics. That means they want to incorporate our old ancient mathematical system, principles, and philosophy behind that. That is why the Indian philosophies, ideologies, theories, practices, how these can be projected, that is the main objective of this national education policy. Coming to Mizoram, Mizoram, everybody knows, is the second largest literacy state in India, a great potential, education potential, a great boon to the students have a great opportunity, whether it is at school level or college level or at university level. And although we have started implementing national education policy at university level, that is in a higher education level, still there are many things left to do at school level. Primary school education, secondary education, including the college education, that many things are left. How can we implement in college and school level? That is why I am sure this seminar, this conference, the faculty members, teachers from the schools and colleges, those who are joining this particular program, after completion of your program, you will carry this message that how this national education policy is smoothly implemented in the state of Mizoram, and the government of Mizoram take a serious note of this. With these words, I thank you once again, the organizers of Education Department, School of Education, for organizing such an wonderful program. We are aware of your developments, your activities, and many activities that is going on under the School of Education. I wish the same spirit, hard work, and continuity, let it continue forever. Thank you so much, giving me an opportunity.
Thank you, Professor Pravakar Rat, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Mizoram University, for your insightful words. I would now like to invite on stage Dr. Rati Mishra to give us a brief biodata about our chief guest, His Excellency Dr. Haribabu Kambampati, Honorable Governor of Mizoram.
A very good morning, Honorable Governor Dr. Kambampati Haribabu, and all the dignitaries, those who are sitting on the dais, my respected colleagues and my dear friends. It is my privilege to read biodata of Dr. Haribabu Kambampati. His date of birth is 15 June 1953. Place of birth, Tamma Samudram village, Prakasam district, Andhra Pradesh. Parents, late Sri Kambampati Venkateswarlu and late Srimati Simathamma. Spouse Srimati Jayashree. Children, 2 daughters, Srimati Chetna married to Sri Chukkapalli Chakravarthi and Srimati Chandana married to Sri Tirupuraneni Varun. Grandchildren, Chukkapalli Arnina and Chukkapalli Arnav. Siblings, 1 elder sister, Srimati Annapurna, married to Sri Muddana Jayachandra Sekhar Rao and has children, Srimati Maruthi Devi, Srimati Kavitha and Sri Suresh Babu. 1 younger brother, late Sri Kambampati Murli Krishna Babu, married to Srimati Satyavani and has children, Sri Kambampati Venkatesh and Srimati Vinila. Now I'm focusing on education. BTech in Electronics and Communication Engineering from Andhra University, ME in Electrical and Control System from Andhra University, PhD in Control System from Andhra University. His professional career, worked as an associate professor for 24 years in Andhra University Engineering College. Political career. As a student leader, participated in the Jai Andhra movement along with Sri Tennati Vishwanatham Sardar, Govathu Lachanna and Sri Moppa Varapu Venkateshwar Rao in 1972. He served as Secretary of Andhra University Engineering College Students' Union from 1972 to 1973. Actively participated in Lok Sangharsh Samiti agitation under Lok Nayak Jai Prakash Narayan during 1974 to 1975 and was arrested under the Maintenance of Internal Security Act MISA during emergency. Imprisoned for 6 months in the Visakhapatnam Central Jail and Mushirabad Jail. He served as Andhra Pradesh State Executive Member of Janata Party in 1977. He served as Andhra Pradesh Yuva Morcha State Vice President of Janata Party in 1977. He served as a Secretary of Andhra University Teacher Association in 1988. He served as a BJP State Executive Member of Andhra Pradesh from 1991 to 1993. Served as BJP State General Secretary of Andhra Pradesh from 1993 to 2003. Served as floor leader for BJP State Legislature Party Andhra Pradesh from 2003 to 2004. Served as BJP National Secretary in 2005. He served as a BJP National Disciplinary Committee member from 2013 to 2014. Served as Andhra Pradesh BJP State President from 2014 to 2018. And last served as BJP National Executive Member from 2018 to 2021. He also legislative position held, elected to Andhra Pradesh Legislative Assembly from Visakhapatnam 1 Assembly constituency in the year 1999. Elected to the 16th Lok Sabha from Visakhapatnam Parliamentary constituency in the year 2014. Member of task force constituted by central government of interlinking of river from 2003 to 2004. And he also held some other position, member of Marine Product Export Development Authority, member of National Council for Teacher Education, and member of National Shipping Board, and presently appointed as a governor of Mizoram by Honorable President of India on 6 July 2021. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Arati, Mishra ma'am. It is now my extreme privilege and honor to call upon His Excellency, Dr. Hari Babu Kambampati, the Honorable Governor of Mizoram, who have kindly consented to grace today's function as chief guest, to kindly take his time. Sir.
Professor Prabhakar Rath, Vice Chancellor of Mizoram University, Professor Lalnun Danga, Registrar, Mizoram University, today's keynote speaker, Professor Ganta Ramesh, Professor Muthu Vemula, Professor Loknath Mishra, Professor Lal Musai Chunango, professors, teaching and non-teaching staff, dear participants. I am very happy to note that the Department of Education, Mizoram University is organizing this conference with ICSSR collaboration on the theme NEP 2020 Philosophy. It is desirable that all the stakeholders, especially those connected with the field of education, have a proper understanding about the philosophy of NEP 2020. The conference theme interestingly focuses on Indian philosophical thoughts and contributions of thinkers to the field of education. I am certain that the learned speakers will provide valuable insight into this topic throughout the conference. On this occasion, I would like to talk about the National Education Policy 2020 Philosophy for Higher Education, which is a document that lays out the vision and direction for higher education in India for several years to come. The NEP 2020 philosophy for higher education level is built on three key principles. Those are access, equity, and quality. These principles are critical for ensuring that every student has an equal opportunity to pursue higher education regardless of their social or economic background. A key feature of the NEP 2020 is the emphasis on multidisciplinary education. This means that students will be encouraged to pursue a wide range of courses across different disciplines, including science, humanities, and social sciences. This will help students develop a holistic understanding of the world around them and prepare them for the complex challenges of the 21st century. Another important aspect of the NEP 2020 philosophy for higher education level is the emphasis on research and innovation. The policy recognizes that research is critical for driving economic growth and development. Therefore, it seeks to create a culture of research and innovation in Indian universities. This will help India become a global knowledge superpower. The NEP 2020 is a comprehensive policy that aims to transform the entire education system in our country. It covers all aspects of education from early childhood care to higher education. The policy has been developed after extensive consultations with educationists, experts, and stakeholders, and it reflects the aspirations and needs of the people of our country. Another vital feature of the NEP 2020 is its focus on transforming the higher education system in our country. The policy acknowledges that higher education is crucial for the development of our country. The policy aims to make higher education accessible, inclusive, and equitable for all, and seeks to transform higher education institutions into vibrant centers of learning and research. The philosophy of the NEP 2020 related to higher education is based on three key principles: autonomy, accountability, and academic freedom. These principles are essential for creating a world-class higher education system that can compete with the best of the institutions in the world. Autonomy refers to the freedom of higher education institutions to decide their own academic programs, admission criteria, and evaluation systems. This autonomy will enable institutions to innovate and adapt to the changing needs of the society and the economy. The policy recognizes that different institutions have different strengths and needs, and autonomy will enable them to develop their unique identities and niches. Accountability refers to the responsibility of higher education. It is important at all levels of education with special reference to teacher education. As I note, most of you are from higher education and especially from teacher education. I hope that you will discuss and come out with a clear understanding of the philosophy of NEP 2020, which will ensure the progress and betterment of our education system. I congratulate the Department of Education, Mizoram University, and ICSSR for organizing this very important national conference. It is my wish that the deliberations and recommendations of this conference will go far in the successful implementation of NEP 2020 in its true spirit. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Dr. Hari Babu Kambampati, Honorable Governor, Mizoram, for your enlightening and insightful words. We will now have the vote of thanks, and for this, I would like to invite Dr. Muthu Vemula, Conference Convener, Department of Education, Mizoram University, to kindly take his time.
Thank you very much, sir. Before vote of thanks, I request all the dignitaries on the dais, with the kind permission of the chairperson, may I request the chief guest, Honorable Governor of Mizoram, Dr. Haribabu Garu, and other dignitaries on the dais to release the book, which is the title of the book's Tribal Education, deals with the present status of tribal education, problems and issues, initiative for the tribal educational development. It contains 5 units: an introduction to the tribal education in India, initiatives for the development of tribal education in AP and Telangana, and tribal women education and entire empowerment. All these chapters are hopefully analyze the education system for tribal on the par with the general population, with the special reference to AP and Telangana. With this regard, I express my heartfelt thanks to the co-author, Dr. Chandrakala, and Dr. P. Sudhakar, IRS Deputy Director of Income Tax, Hyderabad. And I extend my thanks to Sri Suresh Chandra Sharma, Managing Director, Nilkamal Publications, New Delhi. Thank you, sir. Now I request, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Once again, good afternoon, one and all. It's my privilege to propose vote of thanks and acknowledge the contribution of those who worked really hard to make this event possible. I, Dr. Muthu Vemula, convener of 3-day national seminar on behalf of Department of Education and the entire fraternity of the Department of Education, extended my sincere thanks to the Almighty for making today's event a resounding success. First, I extended my sincere thanks to our chief guest, Honorable Governor of Mizoram, Dr. Haribabu Kambampati Garu, for sparing time from his busy schedule to grace the occasion. Sir, we have no words to offer gratitude for your valuable presence here. We truly made this day enlightening for us. Your deep and intellectual way of imparting knowledge has added to the glory of this event. Sir, indeed, your words have inspired us all. Thank you, sir. It's my pleasure to thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Prabhakar Rath, active participation in our event. Sir, you truly made this day enlightening for us, sir. Thank you very much, sir. I would also like to thank distinguished Registrar, sir, for attending the meeting and for gracing the occasion. Also, I want to thank esteemed keynote speaker, Professor Ramesh Ganta, sir, visiting Professor Manu, NCTE members, SRC. Sir, today, there is a lot of information we have provided, which is going to be help us tremendously in our lives. You have provided a deep insight into the topic and have received some fascinating facts. Thank you very much, sir. I would like to thank to Dean, School of Education, Professor Lalma Sai Madam, for great support and encouragement. My sincere thanks to beloved head, Department of Education, Professor Loknath Misra sir, for his consistently supportive and encouraging attitude. My special thanks to former head also. And I would like to thank all invited guests, deans and heads of Mizoram University, resource persons, senior faculty members, dear learned colleagues and my dear student friends, scholars, all the participants, print and electronic media. Thank you, one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Muthu Vemula, for the vote of thanks. We've now reached the concluding part of the inaugural function of the ICSSR-sponsored National Seminar on NEP 2020, Philosophy, Indian Philosophical Thoughts and Contribution of Thinkers to the Field of Education. I would now like to request all our distinguished guests and all participants to kindly rise for the national anthem.